Hey everyone, it's Minty and today I'm going to be doing a colour palette challenge. Basically, I'm using this online generator called Coolers to give me 5 different colours. They showed me this red combo when I first opened the website, but since I didn't press generate, I decided to click the generator and it gave me this. Okay, we can work with it. Now, this is where I had to decide how strict I was going to be with the rules. This palette was alright, but imagine I got one like that red one. Was I going to draw a red person? Sure, I can make some of them into aliens or something, but I'd rather not. I'm going to allow myself to give all the characters a plain neutral skin colour that's not in the palette so that the actual palette can be used for the fun stuff. Is that cheating? I'm gonna say no. Right off the bat, this palette made me think of berries. It was the pink and the purples that did it for me, and even the blue can work for blueberries. Berries made me think of smoothies, so immediately I went with a design for a cute girl that works at a smoothie shop. Sounds pretty boring, but we can always spice things up. The thing that I was most excited about was the hair, and I thought that browny, slightly purpley colour can be used for the hair, but why not add some highlights? This is something that I love doing with my characters to add a bit of interest, but I think where the inspiration for this hairstyle came from was naturally deep down. I was thinking of this character, Twilight Sparkle, from my favourite childhood show. You can see the resemblance with the fringe and the purples and the colour streaks. It's just embedded in there, but it's still original. We've got a little bit of a different hairstyle with the bubbles, which are kind of inspired by the berry theme. We've just got some little circles. They're more like cherries, but I still think it's cute. As I was colouring in the basic flat colours, I thought of a few different combinations and I wanted to get it just right. I planned to have the t-shirt pink with the white apron on top at first, but I ended up switching that around. I'm so indecisive though, I had to ask my family to decide for me, and I'm glad I went with the pink apron. But now that I think about it, white wasn't even on the colour palette. Whoops! I'll do it right next time, I promise. Okay, moving on swiftly from that one, I was really having fun with the hair and carefully placing each blue and purple strand. I love how it's come out, and I also gave the smoothie a purple ombre. I think the whipped cream makes it look more like a milkshake, but I guess it could be both. You may be also wondering to yourself, Minty, where are her shoes and the rest of her body? Are you cheating again by not including it? No, and maybe not. Okay guys, I actually did want to include the shoes on this one. I had a pretty cool idea for them and it would have been a good opportunity to use more of the colours. However, when I'm drawing for YouTube, I have to use the long 19:6 screen. I don't know if I got the dimensions right, but I have to use a longer screen, so if I want to draw the whole character, she's got to be a little bit smaller, and I just love you guys being able to see all the details that I'm putting on the face, and therefore I had to zoom her in a little bit, so we've only got kind of an above the knee view. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure you're not going to miss the feet as much as you would be missing the face and the hair. Now, I could stop here. Let me know what you guys think. However, to me it just looks like something's missing, and these days it's the shading. I have been loving it on digital. I haven't been drawing that much recently. Honestly, if I was, I would be uploading it, so this is one of my first drawings in a while. By the way, I am going to be doing a second drawing after this, so this is not the final product of the video. There are 2 drawings, but anyways, last time I drew digitally, I used shading so well, and I'm going to try and replicate that. I'm not sure if I did it as well this time as the last time I was drawing, but it definitely added something. Although I will say that this drawing took me ages to complete. I don't even know how long. The app doesn't really tell me properly, but it took me a long time, and so did the second one in this video. And I think it's mainly because of all the rendering and the shading that I do. I know it's not as much as some other artists, but it is very time consuming, which I didn't really realise before when I had a more simpler art style, and I kind of wish I could go back to that a little bit. I think almost any artist can relate to the fact that they always think their sketch looks better, or at least sometimes, and I think maybe if I didn't overwork my drawings as much, they would give that flowy vibe a little better. I added a bit of hatching and some more highlights, which you probably can't see very well, and then all I did was use the colour scheme to make a little blurry background and add some dots, and here we go, this is the final product. Okay, now on to the next drawing. This is the colour palette that I got given, and we've got 5 very earthy, desaturated colours, a lot of brown, a bit of green, and this very dark navy blue. Looking back, I could have gone in a very different direction, but immediately I took the easy option, which was just those cozy autumn vibes, and that is what I went for in this drawing of this girl. I did use a reference from Pinterest for the pose, so if I can find it, I'll pop that on the screen. I think I made her waist a little bit too unrealistically small, but it's a bit too late now and I've only just realised. The way I drew the pose made it look like she was walking and then kind of got stopped, and that's the expression that I put on her face. And then I also gave her a lead coming from her hand, which would insinuate that she does have a dog and she's taking it out on a walk on a cold autumn day. So that's why I've dressed her up all cozy with this scarf and a warm knitted jumper. I definitely struggled when it came to figuring out where I was going to incorporate this very dark navy blue mixed in with all those lighter earthy tones. You'll see that originally I made the earmuffs blue, and the earmuffs were actually meant to be headphones, but I changed them to earmuffs just because of the cozy vibe, and I think that works so much better. But I'm pretty sure I ended up changing the colour later on, I guess we'll see. And I ended up doing a bit of a cop out with the navy blue and not including it very much at all. Honestly, I should probably redo this one because it is a little bit lazy. Okay, let's give this girl a break and stop roasting her. One thing I actually do really like about her is her hair. Yes, it's basic, but it's something a little bit different. I gave her very curly hair, but I put it up in a bun. And I love how you can see all the volume and you can still see the curls even though it's put up so neatly and cutely. That's why I left out a couple of strands from her hair so it didn't look too neat and you could still see the curls, and I think it worked out really well. Additionally, you can see the earmuffs really well as well. Getting that hair out the way made sure that you could see the accessories. Alright, now back to the roasting, because now that I'm looking at this drawing, I'm realising how lazy it actually is, because what I did was I just made each piece of clothing a different colour from the palette. Yes, I put some thought into where the colours were going, but there was the whole thing of me leaving out that navy blue. Poor guy, he didn't really get to participate very much. But additionally, I didn't even put any patterns, and no, I'm not a very big pattern person. I don't really put them on my drawings, but maybe I should start. All I did was add a very subtle spotty pattern to the skirt. It was very subtle. It was kind of an ombre from the bottom, and you might have to squint to even see it. I think all it really needed was just a little bit more, like a pattern on the scarf, maybe some stripes, or even one of those Christmassy winter patterns on the jumper. Now, moving on to the face, my original idea was to go with the cold makeup look. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's where there's a lot of blush on the nose to show that you're cold, and more cool purpley tones than warm tones, and often when it's pale skin, it's extra pale just because of how cold they are. However, I did not look at a reference. Surprise! And you can really tell because I kind of just splodged on the colours and hoped that it would work. And it didn't really. I gave her this weird purple eyeshadow, made it a bit more opaque or transparent. Are those the same thing? I don't remember. That's really bad. But anyways, after that, I just covered it up with shading. And the shading was another whole thing. And honestly, I'm not being a very good influence or teacher or whatever. I'm not really helping you guys out here because I'm just complaining, and I'm sorry about that. But I guess any of you guys who are subscribers who have been subscribed for a while, you will know that I haven't been uploading in a very long time, and equally I have not been drawing. So this is the first one in a while. Okay, I'm just gonna be so real with you guys because if you've stayed this far in the video, you're probably a real one anyway, so it's fine. But can you sense the vibe change in the voiceover? I'm not sure if you can. I did half of this video a very long time ago, literally months ago. These drawings, last year, they're all last year. So yes, I'm traveling back in time to do this voiceover, and I promise you the next video will be a lot better, and I have a very good idea for it.